All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man, Jay Will. So what we have here is two phones that, whether you hate it or love them, these are the two phones that people are actually talking about right now, the iPhone 8 Plus and the Galaxy Note 8. These phones are phones that people love right now, and people are buying them, and it's just something that you're just going to have to accept, hate it or love it. These are two of the top phones that are out in 2017. Two of the top. I'm not saying these are the tops. These are just phones that people love. You know what I'm saying. So I'm going to compare these phones, and just a disclaimer, the views that you hear in this video are all mine. I'm not being paid by anyone. No one told me to make this video. No OEM told me to say anything along these lines. So ultimately what I'm looking for is just you to sit back, relax, and compare your thoughts on what you think is better in the comment section and respond and have fun doing so while you watch. So let's get on with this. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the design on the Galaxy Note 8. Now this is a design that's kind of tried and true for Samsung, but the Note 8 has a much bigger footprint, so you've got a very long phone, and then you have this fingerprint reader way up here, which I don't like, but you have this long design here. And in doing so, by giving an 18.5 by 9 ratio, you get a lot more screen, as you can see here. This is actually a 6.3-inch display, and it is actually beautiful. So the design of the Note 8 is definitely nice, and I'm not talking about hardware at this point. I'm just talking about design. How does it look? Now, the design of the iPhone obviously is extremely dated because this is pretty much the same design as the other iPhones since like 3 generations back almost. But this is what Apple is doing. This is what they're doing. This is what people like. So they're sticking to something that's safe for them, and it works. So the iPhone's design, while it is dated, is, it's a good design, I guess. They did upgrade the 8 Plus to a glass back, which actually gives this phone a more premium feel, believe it or not. It actually looks a little bit better. It's a little bit more heavier. But it's the same design pretty much, because all the cases from the 7 Plus fit that phone. So for design, it's definitely going to go to the Galaxy Note 8. While this isn't my first design for like the best looking phone or whatever, it's definitely better than the iPhone 8 Plus when it comes to design. I mean, there's just a bunch going on here. Now let's look at hardware. And again, I'll just go ahead and say this is definitely going to go to the Galaxy Note 8 because you have an iris scanner, a fingerprint reader on the back, a heart rate monitor on the back, a front-facing camera. You've got no touch buttons on the front there. You've got this big, huge display. You've got 2 cameras back there. You've just got a lot going on here. You've got edge sense. You can pull in from the side with the edge. You've got the S Pen. There is a whole bunch with the hardware and features and options in this phone. I mean, you've got a Bixby button. It's just the entire layout is a heck of a lot better than the iPhone 8 Plus. And the iPhone 8 Plus again retains the same design that it had from a while ago, and the only thing that Apple did was add waterproofing, and this phone does have waterproofing, by the way. This is water resistant. This is waterproof. 68 and 67. You argue that out in the comments. 68, 67. But worst case scenario, best case scenario for both of these, I can dunk them both in water and pull them out and they'll work. And that's just what it is. So, but for design wise, Apple has the dual camera setup, and it is what it is. This is what Apple's still working with, and we'll hopefully get a new design for them soon. The 10 is coming out, and it's going to be more in line with the current standards of today when it comes to smartphones, because it's going to have that edge-to-edge display like the Galaxy Note 8. And this is something that is tried and true nowadays. People love edge-to-edge, and if you have anything with bezels on it, people automatically say that it's useless. I totally disagree, because I think this phone is still very comfortable to hold. It's got that girth to it. It feels good. I like the 16 by 9 ratio better. I've gone on record and said that a lot, but the 18 by 9 is definitely growing on me because I get more screen. I'm tired of those bars when I watch videos. When I'm watching a video directly from the phone, though, there's no bars. So, but all in all, this is just a good setup for the Galaxy Note 8, and this is a safe setup for the iPhone 8 Plus. So, screen, design, hardware, all go to the Galaxy Note 8 for now. So I've got some pictures loaded up here. These are all high-quality HD photos, and I'm going to load them up on each one of these because the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is known for having a fantastic display. So I'm going to flip these here, and we're going to look at some of these photos on these phones, and you can tell me what you think. Now, this is a Quad HD display, and this is a 1080p display, obviously. But still, there are a lot of beautiful 1080p displays. And what I'm looking at on here, you know, obviously the Samsung is an AMOLED display, so that everything looks a lot more punchy. The blacks look really black. All the pictures appear to be way more vibrant on the Galaxy Note 8. But when I'm sitting in front of this, now when you look into the viewfinder, it makes it look like the Galaxy Note 8 is super punchy, and even in person it's super punchy. But realistically, this looks a little bit more accurate because it's not as deep green like it is over here. Like this, you look at the accuracy of the sky, and you see how it's kind of, now on videos, look, it might look like it's blowing out the photo over here on the Note 8. But when I'm looking at it with my eyes, it actually is making it much brighter and punchier than it actually should be. And this is a little bit more crisp over here on this one. So let's take a look at this one. And again, same thing. The Note 8 makes it seem like it's so much more punchy than what it really is. And it's more crisp over here. Now, I'm not saying this is a better display. I'm just saying in these photos that I decided to bring up, this is what it looks like. Now, I love AMOLED displays, but if I'm looking at these photos, I want a more crisp display, and that's just these photos. So while I do like how much more beautiful the display is on the Galaxy Note 8, I think in a lot of situations, and also with photos, the iPhone looks more realistic, you know, and the Note 8 looks a little too saturated. And this is something that is known with Samsung displays and cameras. This isn't something that's new. So here is the footage here. Doing this orientation to make it easy on myself, for those asking. It's easier to hold. You can see how the iPhone and the Galaxy Note 8 transitions throughout everything. Let's go down and look at some of the plants. And let's go around here. These are starting to go. And look at this beauty over here blooming out. See all the different colors of the leaves. And there you go. Now here is the front. You can see how the phones produce this footage. And this is just a quick sample here. I'm gonna do another sample upstairs in the office as well. You can see how it handles. Looks like the Galaxy Note's front camera looks immaculate next to the iPhone's front camera. And we're back. All right, so performance. This is kind of a toss-up. Now, normally, some of you guys go to other channels and you see them doing speed tests with opening apps and things like that. I don't really do that anymore. I did it a couple times, but I just thought it was kind of pointless, to be honest. So I stopped doing it. I'm not saying people who do it are doing something wrong. I'm just not interested in that anymore. So I decided not to do the opening app things because I don't see the point in doing that. But what I will tell you is, performance-wise, both of these phones are good. They both, you know, they do their thing. Software-wise, you might say that this is a boring setup. I've even said it gets boring after a while. I stand true to that. I get bored with it after a while, but it's tried and true and it works. With the Samsung software, some would say that this is going to start to lag over time because a lot of Samsung phones do. You know, I just don't. My S7 still runs like a champ, so I don't know. I'm hoping for it not to do that. But iOS, you know, some people do have problems with iOS. They have problems with lag with iOS. But what I get from both of these phones are iOS is a lot more polished than the Samsung TouchWiz or Grace UI, whatever you want to name it. It's a lot more polished and it's a lot more stable. Some people figure since 6 gigs of RAM was coming to this phone that it was going to make it just boom, 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 super fast blazing. And it is fast. But overall experience, I would say, just based on day-to-day performance and software, I like the iPhone better because it just works. I like the way it syncs up with everything. There's just a lot about the iOS platform that is likable and enjoyable. I truly, truly, truly like the iOS experience. I'm not going to front. I like the iOS experience. I like that I can do a lot of things with my phone just sitting next to other Apple products. Like literally, if a phone call were to come in right now, my iPad would ring, my watch would ring, and my 5K Mac would ring. Or my MacBook, if it was open, it would ring. I love that feature. And it's just like Google Hangouts, you know? It's Google Hangouts is nowhere near touching as far as messaging when it comes to iOS. I have sent a full video, like 15-20 minute video in 4K through iMessenger. And yeah, it might have took a little second to get through, but it went through at the full resolution. You've heard me say this multiple times. iMessenger and FaceTime, untouched by any other messaging software. Some of you guys were talking about WhatsApp and all that. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't really care about it too much. I don't use it. I've logged into it once when somebody told me it was great, and I wasn't impressed. So it's pretty much just a messaging app, just like most others. But the bad thing about iOS is that, iMessenger and FaceTime is only on iOS. So Google's attempts at Allo or whatever that is, Vil or whatever it is, those aren't very good. They're good, but they're not matched by this because it's not everywhere. You know, you can pick up an iPhone and talk to anybody on iMessenger and FaceTime, and it works. You can pick up a tablet. You can do it from your computer. You can do it from everywhere, man, and it works. That is a huge plus that iOS has over Android. It's just going to be that way until Android or Apple licenses iOS Messenger and FaceTime to Android. You know what? Everybody who talks about iMessenger and FaceTime and says they're not good, those are Android people. If Apple were to license iMessenger and FaceTime to Android and sell it for $5, it would be boatload of sales coming through. Because in reality, there are apps that are on Android apps that work better on iOS. One of my favorites that works better is Google Voice. Is way more polished on iOS than it is on Android in my experience, man. I can just open up that dialer, boom, I'm done. With Android, I feel like I have to work to get to the dialer. I don't know. It's just my experience with it. I like iOS when it compared to TouchWiz a heck of a lot better. Well, I shouldn't say a heck of a lot better. It just performs better. Now, as far as software suite, obviously you have in TouchWiz, you've got with the Galaxy Note, you've got the Edge Sense, you've got the S Pen, and it may have more features, but how does it perform? Some people will look at this video that are Galaxy Note owners and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. The Note 8 is the king of phones. It outperforms everybody. It's got 6 gigs of RAM. In reality, this phone is underpowered and this one is overpowered and this one performs better. Just saying. As far as battery life goes, all I can say is iPhone 8 Plus. It's not a lot of phones are touching the iPhone 8 Plus in battery. The Note 8 is one of them. It just does not have better battery than the iPhone 8 Plus. I don't need to give any kind of details. It just lasts a heck of a lot longer. And I've got other phones with smaller batteries that last longer than the Note 8. And that's kind of sad. Price, Note 8 wins. Note 8 wins. It costs $930, and you get the 64 gig or 4 gigs of RAM with an SD card. This is 64 gigs for $800. So it's a lose-lose with this when it comes to price. All of Apple's pricing on their devices is extremely overpriced. You know, most phones, any phone that's over $400, it's kind of hard to justify why I'm paying that. And it comes down to personal preference. I just prefer it. I think I'm willing to pay for that performance that I get from it. So that's kind of where it lies with the iPhone 8 Plus and the Note 8. Both stellar phones, but as you can see the matchup there, pretty much overall, the Note 8 is got more likes to it. It's got more to its advantage. You know, it does more. It's better than the iPhone 8 in a lot of areas. So there you have it, man. Note 8 definitely shines over the iPhone 8 Plus. And that's just how it goes right now. Until the iPhone 10 comes out and they'll take away more features, we'll be able to come back and do this again. So it's your man Jay Will. Not a quick video, a lengthy video, but I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.